So when does all these process happen, children? That is formation of the blastomeres, then formation of the cyst, then the morula, then the implantation process. All these, it happens from the day the fertilization has started. So on the day 1, fertilization would have happened. On the next day, it would have carried out mitotic division, and on the next day it would have carried out again the 4 mass of cells, then the 8, and then the 16. So like that, for each day it will show development. So on day 1 it will be 1, on day 2 it will be 2, and in day 3 it will be 4, and by day 4 it will be 8, and day 5 it will be 16 in number, and then by day 6 it will form trophoblast, and then by day 8 it attaches to the endometrium. So within 8 to 9 days, this implantation process will be finished in the uterus. Okay, understood it, children? Now let us move on to the next part, that is pregnancy and embryonic development. So before we move on to that, let us just go through the picture which they have given. So you can see ovulation process has happened, the secondary oocyte is released, and they will carry out the meiosis 2, and they will form the haploid oocyte, and this it fuses with the sperm, and the sperm and the egg nucleus will fuse, and it forms the zygote, and then the zygote will go through 2-celled stage, 4-celled stage, and 8-celled stage, and by the end of this 8-celled stage they will reach a structure which is called as morula, and the 2-celled, 4-celled, 8-celled, and 16-celled stage is called as the cleavage. So what is cleavage? It is the repeated mitotic division of the zygote, resulting in the increase in number of cells. Okay, and once it becomes morula, it will start moving towards the uterus. It will reach towards the uterus, and it forms the blastocyst. This blastocyst will have 2 layers. The outermost will be the trophoblast, and the inner layer will contain that is inner cell mass, which will develop into embryo. Okay, and then implantation of this blastocyst, that is the trophoblast layer, happens in the endometrium of the uterus. Okay, so this is the endometrium of the uterus. There implantation process will happen. Now after implantation, it leads to pregnancy and embryonic development. So the embryo has to develop, and it leads to a process which is called as pregnancy. So now let us learn about these two things in detail. So after implantation, this finger-like projections called as the chorionic villi will appear on the trophoblast. So this trophoblast is the layer which is attached to the uterus or the endometrium, and it will form, after implantation, it will form finger-like projections which is called as the chorionic villi. Okay, and where does this appear? It appears on the trophoblast. You can see it here. So you're able to find the chorionic villi here. So these are all chorionic villis. Villis are nothing but they are finger-like projections. So this is the uterus, and this is the trophoblast layer. So this chorionic villi, it appears in the trophoblast. So now this chorionic villi, it is surrounded by uterine tissue and the maternal blood. So it is formed in the trophoblast, and they are surrounded by the uterine tissue and the maternal blood. You can see it here. It is surrounded by the maternal blood also, and also by the uterine tissues. It is surrounded by uterine tissue and the maternal blood. Okay, now this chorionic villi and the uterine tissue will become. So now So now what happens, children? The chorionic villi and the uterine tissues are interdigitated. So what is this interdigitated? It means that they are interlocked among each other. The chorionic villi and the uterine tissue. So these tissues will interdigitate with each other to form the placenta. Okay, so this forms the placenta. Chorionic villi, which is the finger-like projection, and the uterine tissue will combine to form the placenta. Okay, and what is this placenta? Placenta is a structural and functional unit between embryo, which is the fetus, and the maternal body. Okay, so it acts as a structural and functional unit. It means that it acts as a unit which helps in the transfer of substances from the maternal body to the fetus. It is because it is through the mother's body all the necessary nutrients and all these things will reach the fetus. So when a woman is pregnant, she has to take food which is required for the fetus and also for her own body. So this is what happens in the formation of placenta. So this placenta, it is a very important structure which is formed between the chorionic villi and the uterine tissue. Okay, now let us see what are the functions which the placenta does. So placenta, it has been it acts as a barrier between fetus and the mother. ഇപ്പോൾ മദറും ഫീറ്റസും തമ്മിൽ ഒരു ബാരിയർ ആയിട്ട് ഒരു ഡിഫറൻസിയേഷൻ കൊടുക്കുന്നത് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ദി പ്ലാസൻറ്റ. ആൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് ഓൾസോ സപ്ലൈസ് ഓക്സിജൻ, ന്യൂട്രിയൻസ് എക്സെട്ര ഫ്രം ദ മദർ ടു ദി fetus. So it is through this placenta necessary substance like the oxygen and the nutrients will reach the embryo. And same way, the removal of carbon dioxide and excretory waste substances from fetus into the mother's body is also done with the help of placenta. So fetus is growing inside the uterus. They too produces waste substances. Their bodies, they are also made of living cells. So automatically metabolic processes will happen. So there will be production of waste like carbon dioxide and other excretory waste products. So fetus cannot remove their waste from the body through their own way. For that, the waste substance is also removed through the placenta. So this acts to supply oxygen and nutrients to the fetus, and same way it also helps to remove carbon dioxide and the excretory waste from the fetus. Okay, so this is how the placenta structure is. In the fetus side, it will have villi, chorionic villi, and in the mother side, it will have the tissues, that is uterine tissues and the maternal blood in them. So which will help them to, so they are interdigitated and they provide necessary substances, and many other functions are done with the help of the placenta. Okay, and it also acts as an endocrine gland, and it secretes human chorionic gonadotrophin. Okay, and then it also produces human placental lactogen and estrogen, progesterone and relaxin. So these are the hormones which are produced by the placenta. It is acting as an endocrine gland or tissue, and it secretes substances like human chorionic gonadotrophin, which is also called as HCG, then human placental lactogen, which is HPL, and the estrogens, progesterone, and a hormone which is called as relaxin. Okay, and this hormone relaxin, it is seen in the later stage of pregnancy, and it is secreted by ovary also. Okay, along with the placenta, ovary also helps in secretion of the hormone called as relaxin. Okay, now let us see the placenta. How is it connected to the embryo? So placenta is connected to the embryo by an umbilical cord. Okay, see, we saw that from the fetus side, they will have villi-like structures, right? And in the mother side, they have the blood supply and the uterine tissues surrounding them. But how is the villi connected to the fetus? എങ്ങനെയാണ് അത് ഫീറ്റസിനോട് കണക്ട് ആയിട്ടുള്ളത്? It is done with the help of the umbilical cord. So placenta is connected to the embryo by an umbilical cord. You can see it here. So this is the umbilical cord which is connected to the abdomen of the fetus. Okay, അപ്പോൾ യൂട്രസിൻ്റെ ലൈനിങ്ങിലുള്ള ആ ഒരു പ്ലാസൻറ്റ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സ്ട്രക്ചർ എംബ്രിയോനോട് എങ്ങനെ കണക്ട് ആയിട്ടുള്ള, ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് കണക്റ്റഡ് ഇൻ ദി അബ്ഡമൻ പോർഷൻ ആൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് കോൾഡ് ആസ് ദി umbilical cord. Okay, and this transports substances to and from the embryo. It is through this pathway the necessary substances are transported to the fetus or to the embryo and from the embryo also. You can see it here. So they have umbilical vein, they have umbilical arteries in them which will help them to carry waste and carbon dioxide which is delivered by the baby, and it the vein also, it helps in carrying oxygen, nutrients and hormones which has to be delivered to the body, right? So you might get a doubt that usually arteries, they carry oxygen rich blood, right? So but here I told that they carry waste product which is the carbon dioxide and also other metabolic waste substances. So it is just it is this umbilical artery and the pulmonary artery in our body will help in carrying the that is deoxygenated blood. So as this is not seen in men's, we can't commonly say that a particular artery will carry deoxygenated blood. So we say that only the pulmonary arteries carry deoxygenated blood inside a human's body. But in the case of females, this umbilical artery also helps in carrying deoxygenated blood from the fetus into the mother's body. An umbilical vein does the opposite work of the umbilical artery. So they will carry oxygen and nutrients and the hormones which is needed for the baby. So this is the umbilical cord. So the connection between the placenta and the embryo is called as the umbilical cord. Okay, and it is through this umbilical cord all the necessary substances are given to, and waste substances are taken from the embryo. Okay, I hope you are clear with this placenta and their functions now, children. Now let us move on to the next part. Now always keep in mind, children, this human chorionic gonadotrophin and human placental lactogen, these are hormones along with relaxin which will be produced in a female only when she is pregnant. Okay, so only when a woman is pregnant, the hormones like HCG and HPL production is seen in the body of the females. And same way, relaxin also is produced only when a female is going through pregnancy. Okay, so in addition to these hormones, during pregnancy, the level of other hormones also show an increase in the amount. So in addition, during pregnancy, the levels of other hormones like estrogens, progesterones, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine, etc. are also increased in the maternal blood. It means that in the body of the women who carries the fetus, in their body during pregnancy, the amount of estrogen hormone, progesterone. See, you know that estrogen and progesterone, normally female body will have this production of estrogen and progesterone, right? So to carry out ovulation process and all those things. But the other hormone which we said, that is a HCG and the HPL, and along with relaxin, it will be produced only during pregnancy. So these other hormones like estrogens, progesterones, cortisol, prolactin, then thyroxine, all these hormones are seen in an increased level in the maternal blood during pregnancy. അപ്പോൾ മദറിൻ്റെ ശരീരത്തിലുള്ള ബ്ലഡിൽ ഇതിൻ്റെ ലെവൽസ് ഒക്കെ it will be increased when the women has pregnancy. Okay, and why are these substances increased? The increased production of these hormones is essential for supporting the fetal growth. So it is needed for the support of the fetal growth, and then it is needed for metabolic changes in the mother and to maintain pregnancy. Okay, you know that progesterone is a one which helps in holding that endometrium layer, right? So only when the endometrium is withheld properly, the growing fetus can be kept in position, or else what will happen? These layers might get ruptured, right? So these secretion of other hormones like estrogens and all these, they are supporting the fetal growth. They are helping in metabolic changes in the mother, and then they also help in maintaining pregnancy. So these are the things which happen when there is increased secretion of these hormones. Okay, now let us move on to the next part, children.